We are learning a lot more about Omar Mateen, and after interviewing witnesses, clubgoers, and people who knew him, several major news organizations are reporting that Mateen visited Pulse nightclub several times before that shooting attack. Some people saying that they saw Mateen at the club. There are also indications that he may have had profiles on several major gay dating apps. Certainly, we'll learn a lot more about who he was as the investigation continues into this deadly shooting. I am standing in front of the Dr. Phillips Center for the Performing Arts, and just hours ago, there was a massive vigil here for the victims of the shooting. I've been talking to several people here in Orlando, and they tell me even though this was a tragedy of epic proportions, they don't want it to redefine their community.
Good afternoon. Thank you for calling Charlie.
This is the hub of Orlando's gay community. It's called The Center. Days after the worst mass shooting in American history, it's ground zero for what survivors and victims' friends and families might need. They're mobilizing water and meals to send to relatives waiting for their loved ones at the hospital and planning for longer-term services like counseling.
So what we did was we put out a call on social media for anyone who is licensed to be a counselor to please help us. We had no less than 200 people come to the door.
That response came swiftly after Sunday's shooting, when 29-year-old Omar Mateen walked into a crowded gay nightclub and killed 49 people and injured dozens more. Mateen, an American Muslim of Afghan heritage who had previously expressed disdain for homosexuals, was killed by police.
And anybody that doesn't understand that this was a hate crime simply doesn't understand the definition of a hate crime.
The U.S. president has called it an act of homegrown extremism. The presumptive presidential nominees also weighed in, with Democrat Hillary Clinton calling for more gun control and Republican Donald Trump reiterating his plan to temporarily stop Muslims from entering the United States. Less than a month ago, President Barack Obama declared June National LGBT Pride Month. Now, what was supposed to be a celebration has turned into mourning, not just here in Orlando, but in cities across the country and around the world. From Orlando to San Francisco and all the way to Thailand, people lit candles to honor the victims and show solidarity. Back at the center, many hope this tragedy will continue to bring people together rather than pushing them apart.
I don't want anyone to have anti-Muslim sentiments about this. It's an isolated incident in my mind of someone with homophobia.
A sentiment being echoed by many here, even as they acknowledge that the road to recovery will be a long and painful one for their city.
Well, Tatiana, President Obama has had to pass comment after a number of mass shootings in recent years. What is the White House saying on this occasion and about any plans to visit the site of the shooting?
This is a visit that President Obama has had to make all too many times, and we are learning from the White House that he will make this visit one more time to offer condolences to the friends, families, and the victims of this tragic shooting. The White House says that he's due here in Orlando on Thursday, Paul.
Okay, Tatiana, thank you.
Reading, oh, we love Reading.
Republican Donald Trump is on the stump in California, but for the real estate mogul, Tuesday's primaries across 5 states won't make much difference. He's already unofficially locked up the Republican nomination. But those same contests will likely tip the scales in a tight Democratic race between former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. Both candidates have been crisscrossing California to win over voters.
And if there is a large voter turnout, we are going to capture a very good majority of the 475 pledged delegates that are up on June 7th.
This is really the last stand for Bernie Sanders in terms of the optics, right? I mean, when it comes to the arithmetic, there's no viable pathway for him to sort of lock up the Democratic nomination.
Clinton is working to build momentum in California at events like these. Her husband, former U.S. President Bill Clinton, is on stage touting his wife's credentials. And while a loss here likely won't impact her path to the nomination, it could hurt her campaign to take on Trump in November.
If she loses the most Democratic state, the most populous state in the country, a state that is reliably Democratic, it just doesn't look good, and Donald Trump surely will exploit it.
Clinton has worked to shift her focus away from the battle against Sanders to the general election, where she'll likely face Trump. Her most aggressive attempt yet, a foreign policy speech in San Diego lampooning his ideas on national security.
They're not even really ideas, just a series of bizarre rants, personal feuds, and outright lies.
Trump is gathering ammunition of his own as an ongoing investigation into Clinton's email scandal continues to dog her campaign.
I have read so much about the emails. Folks, honestly, she's guilty as hell.
For now, though, Clinton is safe. And if she can pick up enough delegates Tuesday to clinch the nomination, she will likely breathe a huge sigh of relief. Tatiana Anderson, TRT World, Los Angeles.